Good afternoon, councillors and staff, and welcome to the March 2026 Murrumbidgee Council meeting. I would first and foremost like to pay respect to the traditional custodians of the lands and waters of the Murrumbidgee local government area and to all Aboriginal elders past, present and emerging. We are committed to honouring the continuing connection that first Australians hold to Murrumbidgee's land, waters and community as one of the oldest living cultures in human history. In the spirit of open, accessible and transparent government, and to ensure this meeting is open to the public, this council meeting is being recorded and live streamed. This recording will be placed on council's website following the meeting. Okay. A call for any apologies? No apologies. Everybody's present and accounted for. We'll move to the minutes of the ordinary council meeting of the 24th of February 2026. Would somebody like to move that these minutes are a true and accurate record? Moved Councillor Bryson, seconded Councillor Saxby. I'll put that to the meeting. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. I'd just like to remind everybody at the table of their pecuniary interest declarations. Are there any declarations that need to be passed forward before we start? If not, thank you very much for that. We'll move to the Mayor's report. I hope everybody's had a chance to read it. It's not that long. I'll read it for transparency's sake. One could be forgiven for thinking we're living in Queensland. It's been hot and humid with storm-like rain events. There are areas that have not had rain, and the dry in those areas is ongoing and with a large level of concern. Agriculturally, the corn harvest is underway, cotton is progressing as it moves through its phases, and rice, though lesser in production this season, is still growing fast. The water allocation of only 32% has necessitated growers making hard calls on whether to plant or not. The pressing issue of diesel availability and the ever-increasing cost is also having a profound effect on our farming decision-making. The global uncertainty and its impacts are certainly front of mind in our thinking. In a local government area where the key economic driver is agriculture, we're currently facing many challenges. Water security, certainty of diesel, certainty of inputs and the escalating costs of all three, and of course the confused and unpredictable weather patterns. It is with sadness that we acknowledge the sudden passing of Les Emanuel, Russell Fisher and John McKenzie in South Australia this week. Each in their own unique way have made a significant contribution to the Collingwood community. All three were deeply embedded, both business-wise and socially. They leave behind families that will miss them dearly, and Council offers their deepest sympathy to these families in the community of Collingwood. The Jewellery Fun Fair held on the 7th of March attracted a great people. It was well supported by the jewellery community and surrounding towns. The chicken races were a novel introduction and very entertaining. Also with rides and show bags, food options, live music and many stalls. It was a great afternoon of entertainment. Cypress View Lodge in Collingwood celebrated 30 years of service and care, providing a valuable community option to those who wish and need to be supported and cared for in their hometown. All reports are that it was a happy and well-deserved celebration, recognising those that generously work in this facility and go over and above looking after those we love. Congratulations to the organising company on a great day. Thank you to Deputy Mayor Councillor Robert Black for representing Council at this function. This month has been incredibly busy with water engagement and advocacy. Ranjo has engaged Clean Oil Consulting to help inform and prepare its submission on the Murray-Darling Basin Plan Review. So the knowledge and network in the workspace is allowing us to pull together a submission that is as informed and balanced as we can present. We have a rolling teams meeting every Monday morning with Claire Ranjo, Executive Officer Brett Stonestreet and the Ranjo Water Subcommittee. Murrumbidgee Council met with the NDDA Chief Executive Andrew McConville and his team during their consultation roadshow, leading up to the submission deadlines for the NDD plan review due by the 1st of May. This was followed by a session with Ranjo. Both Council and the draft could be made available for feedback prior to finalisation and presentation to Government. We are yet to receive an answer to this question. Local government was invited to a rural and regional health online town hall meeting facilitated by Dr. Joe McGirr outlining a 6-point advocacy brief to further advance equitable and accessible healthcare in country New South Wales. None of the 6 points are new. They are recurring issues that seem challenged at every turn. What has become apparent is that money will not help fix these issues. A lack of enough dollars will only put a band-aid on a hemorrhaging system. I want to have an independent regional health commissioner who sits outside the health system and is not governed by the bureaucracy, is part of his brief, which seems to display serious merit. Council is still being approached by a renewable energy proponent seeking to develop further energy factories. Of course, Council are the last to be engaged in communication and conversation. It has to be acknowledged that this ongoing move into our LGA does and will continue to create a level of uncertainty and distress to many of our landholders and general community. With the Easter break and school holidays approaching, please stay safe, be mindful on our roadways and during recreational pursuits. And below are a list of meetings I attended during March. Are there any questions? If not, it's going to be like, sorry, Councillor Mason.
It's more a comment rather than a question. Just in regards to, just really encourage everyone to put a submission into the Murray-Darling Basin Plan Review. I think it's really important that we have a many and varied submissions with a focus on our local area. Our local environment, our water quality is just as important as the lower lakes. So I think, and from the meeting that I attended with you, that's certainly the feeling that I got, that they really want to hear some new ideas and solutions, and it's about the local community, it's not about more water. So how can we use the water that the Commonwealth already holds better and more efficiently? And yeah, just what's missing in terms of our local area, I think is really important.
Thank you, Councillor Major. Any further comments?
I'll probably, Councillor McRae and I have sat in quite a few water meetings, and you hear little bits of snippets from absolutely everybody. And presentation that we had the other week, which I knew nothing about and I haven't fact checked it, is that water for Adelaide is around about 400 gigalitres, I believe it was. And but the conveyance water to get those 400 gigalitres is about 700 gigalitres. So they're just saying something as simple as a pipe from Albury to Adelaide would save 700 gigalitres of water just to feed the water for Adelaide. As I said, I haven't looked in to see that. Then there's another pipeline from somewhere to somewhere, 400 kilometres in
from Morgan to Whyalla.
Morgan to Whyalla.
Morgan to Wimmera, Morgan to Brook Peninsula.
Yeah, so there's a pipeline of 430 kilometres there. What would be the issue with what would it be? 800, 900 kilometre pipeline from Albury somewhere across the
even from Mildura.
Yeah, would save a lot of conveyancing and things like that. So things just have to be thought of a little bit differently. And a lot of those conversations that we had was reconnecting the rivers, where they're going to artificially flood the river 6 times a year for the sake of the environment. And we keep on telling them they're actually just killing the environment in trying to save the environment, right? They've silted up the barn choke. They're trying to force water through somewhere that naturally it cannot go. So they need to pull their head away from certain other parts of their body and start looking at it from the face value that nature never flooded the river 6 times a year, every single year. Nature didn't try to push that volume of water through all the constraints that we've got absolutely everywhere. So why are we trying to replicate? Why aren't we looking at something different? If they have to run a river high to get over the bank to get into a wetlands, put some lift pumps in. Put the lift pumps in to get it into the bloody wetlands. Right?
Lift pumps with solar panels.
Lift pumps with solar panels. And they get it all in there. There's a million different scenarios where they don't have to be stealing the water from the consumptive pool. So,
Councillor Major.
So just on the back of something you talked about, John, was about the running of the Murrumbidgee River. Could you tell us what impacts that will have on the caravan park if we have 6 floods, or the volumes that they're talking 6 times a year? We get
I do
Okay.
believe that we would have to close the caravan park. But the other thing is that Brits Road would be inundated. The bridge down at Brits Road would be cut off. A lot of that low-lying area around there would be inaccessible from the farmers. The national park would be inaccessible as well. That's just in our area. Let alone going to, if we go to Gundagai, all farmers there, their paddocks are cut off from each other. They would either have to move all their cattle or the government needs to build them bridges so they can get between their properties because they're flooding it all the time. They set aside, I believe, $365 million to against all of this to fix all of these constraints that they get a fine. And I'm pretty sure they've found about 3 times the amount of money that they need to spend to be able to achieve what they're trying to do for very little result. You read some of the scientific findings in that the MDBA have done, and they clearly state they could double the amount of environmental water and not change an outcome for what they're trying to achieve. So it's gone completely backwards. Councillor White.
So you're saying they could double the amount of water. Nothing will replace the natural atmospheric conditions that happen when the water falls naturally. So the bird breeding events, they start to happen, then they inundate that forest again and kill the birds. And that's happened previously. Kept on that one, but
Yeah.
the atmospheric conditions have to be taken into account before you do any flooding of the river.
I think, Councillor Blank, what has happened historically is that agendas have skewed the data that's been at the table to suit a certain agenda. Furthermore, to John's comment about, that blue sky thinking about taking a pipe from Albury through to Adelaide, that's actually, the cat spoken at us from the NBBA authority in efficiency and constraints. Now, if you can pipe that water and be really efficient about what you're doing, that's a tip. Also, the constraints are significant, and John actually, just alluded to a lot of the Barma Choke and places like that. So constraints, efficiencies, water quality, less extraction, all of those sorts of things are the catch cries that they're talking about in this review. So we need to be smart and use the words that have been spoken at us to substantiate our submissions. So, as Councillor May just said, your lived experience is what they're looking for. They're looking for lived experience. They're looking at processes and projects that are already in place that have had a positive outcome that may well be marginalised or compromised if they go ahead with these artificial flooding events. So, Councillor Cherwin.
When they talk about these 6 flushes, do they ever take into consideration the blackwater events that they create that results in massive fish kills and decimating side rivers like the Edwards?
We can't get into their mind, but obviously they're not. Like the cold water pollution alone, they're changing absolutely everything. But there's another hidden one there. They don't talk about these there was 1,000 gig of the 1,300 gig of water taken from the Snowy River and turned back east, right, through the Snowy and back out here to the Colliambly fields. It was one of their major plans for that water. Now, that is 1,000 gigs of water that was never in the natural environment.
Mm.
But then they are accounting for that as if it is natural water that has been in that part of the world forever, right? When it's not. They don't acknowledge that whatsoever. I've asked about, are they taking that into consideration? They're not taking, the Snowy River is not part of their review. So because the Snowy River is not part of their review, the Tumut River is not really part of their review, the Upper Murrumbidgee is not really part of their review, And we've got from the sidelines, we've got, Canberra trying to take water for Canberra out of these systems already to grow the city that should never have been. So, it's a little bit of a kick in the guts when you see all of the things that is going around of what they're trying and attempting to do, in this space in the name of saving the environment, but they're killing it big time. Right?
Councillor Major.
There's one other important point that I should note. It's not just what you're hearing from our lived experiences, but there actually has been a study done by Marsden Jacobs, which does identify our local government area as one of the 12 most vulnerable LGAs. So it's going to impact not just farmers, water users, but we've heard recreation, towns, our water quality for our town. So that's why everyone needs to jump on and put a submission in. And I'm guessing that they can be guided by what Claire Miller puts forward to us. Would we be able to circulate that, or I put on our website or something once that's formulated? Or
on our website, but I will make it available to all of the councils, and we can circulate it. You can circulate it to the risk you may run there is people misinterpreting what is being said in a dot point. But anybody who'd like to have access to our notes that we're taking with Claire Miller as a consultant, we're happy to do that.
Yeah, and one thing that Andrew McConville did say that he wants a lot of these submissions to be real life occurrences. So they may only be anecdotal, but he's wanting to hear of these things. For instance, one hand gave a grant to build this beautiful thing, and the other hand floods it 6 times a year. Right?
So the fire work that was done in the common area.
Yeah.
When it floods, all the riparian work that was done by the Aboriginal people of our town will all now be flooded and destroyed because of this event, and it increases the erosion because the amount of volume they put down in time is actually the speed of that water when they initially do it is destroying our banks again.
And I think they've finally acknowledged that they'll always be dredging down at the mouth. That it was the 2012 floods were the only time that has ever opened it up naturally.
Yeah.
Right? So if they start thinking that they need to dredge that area, then they don't have to think about pushing so much water down to open up the mouth, because it's actually wasted, totally wasted. So they're just all the points that we need to raise, put in our submissions and put them out there for them to think about, and let's just hope that they listen and it's not just wiped under the carpet.
And further to Troy's comment about the Marsden Justice report and the 12 most vulnerable LGAs, Murrumbidgee Council's number 2. So we sit right up there at the top of those vulnerable communities. And as we point out often, it's not about when we get to tipping point, we're at tipping point. And that needs to, again, speak very clearly to the socio-economic impacts, which are given scant regard really. So we made that point also. You need to actually look at what's going on to the communities, to industry, agricultural industry, and whatever. It needs to be a whole of basin, whole of thinking approach to what we're doing. So your comments, Councillor Curfew, regarding the riparian work that's been done, that's very valuable. If that could be put in a submission, it doesn't have to be as big or as informed or whatever as a Magna Carta. It just has to seriously state this is a live experience of how detrimental the impact will be.
And the other lived experience by the lack of maintenance of the national parks with the noxious weeds. 6 flood events every year. That's going to wash the seed again downstream onto diligent farmers who spray and maintain their property. Every flood event, they'll be out spraying, maintaining. It's just another cost to a farmer who's pushed now with diesel prices and all their other things that they've got expenses going up. It's just unfair how we treat our river people.
Is there any further comment regarding the Murray-Darling Basin Plan Review, or you think we crashed that out significantly? Okay. Did we get a mover and a seconder? Would somebody like to move the mayor's report, please? Move Councillor Swan, second Councillor Turkey. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Okay. We will move to item number 1. General Manager's monthly report, please.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. Just a few quick points to note out. The jewellery office, we're back in there. Still a few little things to be done, but everybody is extremely happy that they're not having to work from home or the library anymore, and they've got an office back. The amount of people that were working from home saying we want to come back, but the difference, I dare say, between our little towns and some of the others is that we don't really have internet worth worrying about. You can't get anything connected because NBN stands for
Nobody network.
nobody.
But they still charge you the same amount,
I know.
or even dearer out here.
Yeah, but that's okay. Council housing replacement, waiting on finalisation of permits, so all the work can commence. Everything, all the contracts are signed, everything is done, waiting for those. Stage 3 subdivision has been passed its DA. Sorry, what am I doing? Target date for stage 3. Polyambley's passed its DA, and I've circulated to all councillors the preferred option for Wallamara stage 3. Thank you for your feedback out of session. We'll put that forward and get those changes done and put the Wallamara stage 3 estate in Jewellery to development assessment, and hopefully still looking at the same target date of next financial year, 26-27, to complete both subdivisions. The long day care, Darlington Point Preschool, all the QPS documents are out there. They're to come back to us, to myself by the 30th of April. We'll do the assessment and recommendations and come to council on the 26th of May. As I've spoken about previously, this will give us time to put to budget the funds. We just may need to carry some of these expenditures for a little while until that income comes through towards the end of next year. We've spoken about for probably close to 2 years now a reason for a 4-day week to look at trying to boost productivity. Done some analysis in relation to the 4-day week, and by going 4-day week instead of a 9-day fortnight, there's 26 days of the year which we don't mobilise and demobilise. Now, a lot of people out there would hear that a 4-day week is that they're shrinking the hours. We're not shrinking the hours. We're still working the mandatory hours, whether it be 35-hour week or a 38-hour week, within the compressed 4 days. So hence we get that productivity to be able to spend more time on the jobs out there without having to come back and forth. If I ran the numbers again today, it'll probably be a lot more, considering diesel is virtually twice the price of what it is, particularly for mobilising and demobilising work crews that are out there. But just off the top of my head, we won't do that. But just productivity savings is around about $900,000 to $1.1 million. So I did two different scenarios in relation to that to come up with those numbers, and it was pretty close when they both come within that 20% of each other. It was I knew that it was going to be spot on. The idea also is to, and this is where the unique part of the proposal going forward would be that there would be no access by the public to council facilities on the 5th day of the week. Rationale for that is that many times, because of the RDO situations and things of that nature, people are coming in and wanting to get something done, and that person's on an RDO. There's other people that can't help them. Yes, there's going to be still people sick and on holidays, but we can backfill a lot of those things and have all of those things ready to go, except for a sick day. That's just the nature of it. So wanted to get into a situation where the community knows that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, they come to the office, they can virtually see 100% or get access to nearly 100% of our employees to ask the questions that they're burning to ask. We put it out to the staff of which day would be the 4 days, and they came back with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at a rate of about 70% in favour of that and 30% in favour of the other scenario. So it was overwhelming to that. Before we go any further and develop a policy or an agreement to be signed by the staff or by the unions and ourselves to put this in train, probably for a 3-year period, that I'm seeking council's permission to take it to the community to ask them the simple question: what will they miss out on by not having access to the council office or the depot on a Friday, every Friday? I want to know. We're going to get the rhetoric that comes our way with everything about local government employees and everything else like that. But this is a productivity measure. We spent, I think it was February 2024, at our annual strategic planning workshop. The theme of that was avoiding a special rate variation. We developed an organisational structure that gave us some improvements. We put a lot of our, we zoned our rural areas into 4. We put a supervisor and a crew in charge of each of the areas to maintain that area and take pride of that. We put supervisors in each of the towns to take pride of the towns and to bring forward all the savings that we could by having that structure the way it was. We've looked at other things, and yes, we're talking about the sale yards next, that we've got rid of some services that we didn't need to have. At the same time, we're taking on services that for childcare centres that are also going to be another drain. So we're just looking at all of these different scenarios on trying to get the greatest value for the community that we can, and this was just another rationale there. The next thing is the Office of the Local Government Joint Organisation. They asked the question whether what way council wanted to jump. The minister has written to us and say if you want for us, if we want to stay in Ranjo, we just say, we write to the minister and say we want to stay in Ranjo. If we want to leave Ranjo, we write to the minister and say we want to leave. Right, they're the 2 options that the minister wants us to canvass from there. My recommendation is that we stay with the Ranjo, the Riverina Murray Joint Organisation. There is so many benefits that we've achieved throughout the years in relation to that. Access to, well, the state government started to download all of the contaminated lands to the responsibility of the council. Through the Ranjo organisation, we were able to get consultants in to help us to do that. That was many hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of work for the region, but it gave us everything that we needed, which we couldn't have done. If we individually had to do it, we'd probably be up for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Same with our energy audits and everything else like that. The ability for us to go into partnerships with other JOs in electricity arrangements have saved tens of thousands of dollars just in electricity every year. Even through Ranjo was the Southern Lights project to convert all of our street lights into LEDs. That was all driven through Ranjo, and got that equivalent there, and that's
Disaster recovery.
Disaster recovery. There was all of these different things that, as an individual organisation, as a small player, we could never get to, and we'd have to get somebody in from outside, and it would cost us an absolute fortune. working collaboratively. That's why I think that Roundjo should be there. I have been told that the purchase of the Murrumbidgee Local Health District land is with the Minister, the Health Minister. So waiting for that to come back. We're in constant contact with local members of Parliament, and they keep on asking and getting back this information for us. I have my final meeting with the doctor, the community nurse, and the manager of the Jerilderie Medical Centre to go through the plans to see what. Spoken to podiatrists and dentists and things like that to see what they need. Even had an email come through by Councillor McRae from an interested party saying that I hope our health centre is going to have access to X-rays because we really need it in Jerilderie. So things like that. We've always had that in there to have an approach to the ability of an X-ray in there. So we're working through that. So hopefully that's on the 1st of April. I won't say April Fool's Day, but it's on the 1st of April. Hope they're not trying to trick me. We'll get through that. Then the next is my movements that I'm aware of for the rest of the year. That's my report, Councillor McRae. Any questions?
Any questions from people going into the board?
Councillor Major?
Just trying to say, obviously, to a lot of people, the 4-day working week will be controversial. Obviously, we've had access to a lot of information and a lot of explanation to the program. So could you just work us through a working example and probably use a road gang?
Yeah.
You talked about immobilising and demobilising, but I think it's about travel times. Can you talk us through an example of how we're going to save in that instance?
So it did an average. We've got our major crews. We've got 2 crews in Jerilderie and we've got 2 crews in Darlington Point. And to work out their average, they're probably, on average, they travel around about 160 kilometres a day. To most of their locations, to get to their work site and back. So you've got 4 crews, about 160 kilometres a day. That's 640 kilometres or 680 kilometres, whichever it is. My maths is gone under pressure. So there's no truck going out to there. We're not mobilising a grader out to that site for that day. We're not mobilising the water truck or even the utility to go out there. We're not losing that 2 hours a day in travel to the job, because that 2 hours on that day, on that 9th day, is another however many minutes towards the end of the day, every day that is getting there before the travel time kicks in. So that's where the savings are for both the time, and you've got a crew. Each crew's got 4 people in it. So grader, water cut, roller, and another plant operator in that crew. So you've got 16 people just on there, and their savings of 2 hours. That's 32 hours a week just in those guys alone for doing that. So they were just the averages that come out, and that's why I come out to that $1.1 million. But the other scenario that I did, that was the savings from doing it that way. The 900,000 is I just worked out and said, rightio, the alternative to this would be overtime, right? How much is overtime if we worked out to make the same thing? And it was $900,000 worth of overtime. So that's where the other, or $900,000 worth of costs for doing that other thing. So that's what you got the difference between that productivity. If you put it as an overtime rate, it's $900,000 worth of overtime on that extra couple of minutes a day over the whole thing that makes those numbers come up. So it is a significant amount of money at the end of the day. The savings to the officers and things like that is minimal. A little bit less electricity and things like that. The major reason is for that is more equity across the board, and access to the public to make sure that they're always going to be able to get who they want to see when they want to see. We were going through this whole process when when we had community banking in two of our sites, and it was going to cause a little bit of issues in relation to that, but I won't say that Bendigo Bank did us a favour, because they're just not very nice people. They just stole our banking away from us, so we didn't have to worry about that this time around. So that was a major service that we're trying to work on to maintain for the community, but that was taken from us, so I didn't have to worry about that. That's why I went to the public.
So John, you clearly identified the savings, how you rationalised them in your head. When you were moving through this process, did you identify any risks of not being open 5 days a week or 9 days a fortnight?
No, I treated through the whole process. I treated the 5th day of the week that we wouldn't be open as just another day of the weekend. So we still need to maintain our water. We still need to maintain our sewage. We still need to collect wandering dogs. We still need to do all of those things as we do on a Saturday and Sunday. We just need to do it on a Friday, Saturday and Sunday, right, to maintain all of those services.
So you factored that into
Yes.
your overtime?
And overtime and calculation, yeah.
Okay, well, my only comment around this will be you will need to be very well prepared and have detail behind what your rational thinking is when you take it to the public.
And I understand that absolutely completely. And at the end of the day, all the feedback from the public will come to council, and council will make the decision at the end of the day if you're going to move down there. So I wanted to have those conversations with the public before we even get down to the nitty-gritty of making a policy with the staff, because there's no point, if it's not going to happen, to go for with the staff in that way. So
Okay, Councillor Major.
In the context, so that's saving 1.1 million compared to our budget. So what's is that about 135? Is that right? Or-
Well, it's not with the math, but it's significant.
But so we have roughly $35 million budget. Is that right?
Haven't set the budget yet.
Anyhow, right. So it's significant money. I would say 1.1. I'm just trying to put it in context.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's cash.
it has to be the same. It's the extra productivity that is coming out from that. The less downtime, that extra 100 metres of road that we can actually reconstruct or whatever it is in a day, compared to coming back and then that costing us that full amount at that time, right?
So we're going to get much better roads out of it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. We'll get a lot more done in a day.
All right. That's on record. All right.
Yeah, but
Great.
there's other things in the whole process that I've spoken to all the supervisors in particular of how to do these things. Like it might be that we've got a crew that works a different set of hours than everybody else. And it might be the mechanics, so that they can maintain things when everything is on a day off, right? It could be the float operator of the low loader, right? So there's a major move that is happening. That I figured it out that on that Friday to Saturday and Sunday, if that loader operator worked those days, he could pick up all the graders, all the water trucks, absolutely, well, not the water trucks, but all the graders and the rollers and everything else like that, and deliver it to the next site. So when the crew comes, they just need to drive to the next site and they've started work straight away. They are not wasting their time, four blokes, trying to get all the equipment to another place, which might be another 100 kilometres away or 50 kilometres away. So there's going to be a lot of management in there that I haven't calculated those savings, but they will be, yes, there'll be some overtime specific to that, but the savings will be terrific. Just speaking to the workshop manager or coordinator, foreman, whatever we call him, just the amount of work when there's nobody else around, something that takes him a day on the grader, he can do in half a day because he's not getting distracted or anything else like that along those lines. So there's other things that need to be in the machinations to be able to work it out to get the best out of it. And those staff that I've spoken to, they're all in favour of that. They're all over that. They think, why can't we do this? Right?
Okay, are there any further questions of John? If not, would somebody like to move, please? To councillor Pete, second to councillor Major. And the recommendation will read, 1, that council conduct community consultation on the 4-day working week. Council requesting the community provide any feedback they wish, in particular feedback to the question, what impact will the council offices, depots and libraries being closed on Friday have on yourself or your business? 2, a further report on the findings of the 4-day working week consultation be presented to council at the April 2026 council meeting, at which time council will decide to implement or not. And 3, council inform the Minister for Local Government, the Honourable Ron Honig, MP, that Murrumbidgee Council wishes to retain membership of the Riverina and Murray Joint Organisation, RAMJO, further informing the RAMJO Executive Officer of our decision. I'll put the recommendation. If those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you. Item 2, please.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. On the back of the community forum this morning, we had representatives from Mr. Andrew Splee, a request from the Jerilderie District Sheep Breeders, the letter is attached, expressing that we don't close the sale yards for another 12 months, so that they can hold their 25th John Wells
Memorial Sheep Sale.
Sheep sale at the Jerilderie yards. I put in I recommended that we not close it for a further 12 months, that council provides a budget allocation of $15,000 to carry out the minor works, ensure that we can user friendly as possible, and to offset that, set the fees at $1.50 per head. I'll speak to elders about operating the yards underneath those, that scenario. As we know, the operation of the yards has never been an issue. The headcount that goes through well and truly covers the cost of us operating the yards for those days. It just does not scratch the surface of the works that need to happen to the yards for animal welfare and health and safety of human life as well. So I'm hoping that a $15,000 band-aid and the recovery from the yard fees could do that. There was an offer from Mr. Slee that they volunteers might come through. So I'm not sure if you wanted to save $10,000 and make it a dollar a head. I'm not sure. It's up to you. We're currently sitting at 75 cents, so it would be a dollar. I think Cora is $1.30. Others
$2.08.
$2.08 Cora. All right.
Finley's $1.50.
Right. All right.
It's $2.08.
So it's not unreasonable.
It's not.
No.
Right.
Councillor Black.
Thank you very much. Mr. Andrew Splee was very enlightening today when he acknowledged that the yards will be unfit for purpose into the future, and his willingness to say that the continuation of those yards is not possible.
Councillor Major.
Yeah, look, I in regards to, I agree. Andrew spoke very well, and I think what captured, I guess, it was about the celebration of 25 years. I think we can work with the Sheep Breeders Association to really make it a big event, this last one. Hopefully, council can be of assistance there. In regards to the yard fees, I look at it a couple of ways, and also the offer of some of their labour, and even maybe some portable sheep yards. I think, let's do an assessment as soon as possible, understand what the real costs are. I'm still happy to leave it at $1.50. If the costs come in underneath that, I think we can put that money towards recognising the merino and the sheep industry, what it's done for Jerilderie. I think so. We just put it towards that, and potentially some money for celebrations or something. So I think it'd be really good if the Sheep Breeders group can work with council let's really celebrate because, yeah, Geordie has done a lot of the sheep's back, and I think it needs recognising. And yeah, that's I'd go with recommendation of $1.50.
Okay, is there any further comment? If not, would somebody like to move? Move councillor Jurgen, seconded councillor Curtin. A recommendation will read that council defer the closure of the Geordie sale yards till November 2026, providing a budget allocation of 15,000 to carry out minor works in order to ensure the yards are as user-friendly as possible. To offset this cost, council set the yard fees at $1.50 per head with elders operating the yards. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. It is carried. Thank you. Item 3, please.
Oh, yes, just, I failed to pick it up that, this item was a discussion at, a Swan's workshop, so it's been removed and will be represented at the next council meeting. My apologies to the councillors for that.
Okay, item 4, please.
Item 4 relates to an increase to council's credit card facility limit. So currently council has a limit of $20,000 on its credit card altogether. We've just undertaken a review of credit card holders within the organisation and identified a number of staff members that really require access to a credit card, who have been relying on other credit cards within the organisation. And we have also quite frequently hit up against having to transfer funds sort of mid-month to refresh the credit card limits. So there's not really any intended change to the scope of the credit card policy procedures or anything like that is really dramatic, but just to increase the total facility limit to accommodate those changes requires an increase. That requires a council resolution. So I think that's what the recommendation is that we council approve the facility limit up to $35,000.
As Councillor McRae is very much aware that, the credit card that I hold as the general manager has got a $5,000 limit on it. And many times we call in Caitlin to put more money in to refresh halfway through a thing. So there was a call there that would be up to $10,000.
So
just for
that's
that one.
$1,000 on it, and then there's a couple of
Yeah.
$2,000.
Other little cards and things, so yeah.
I totally concur with the increase in the limits because it's not possible you have to ring somebody because the credit card has not been cleared. And I actually think, Caitlin, that the general manager's credit card should be cleared. You have access to John's diary. It should be cleared before we have to head off to any conference or anything because it's unexpected costs to arise. So
Maybe a few less coffees.
Coffees, there's no coffees going
there's
on
no
there.
copies on these credit cards.
None on there.
No.
Plenty of diesel.
This is why we need it straight up.
Would it be feasible to halfway through the month clear it and then at the end of the month clear it?
It
It's
is.
still the same problem.
Yeah, and it's more administratively difficult as well to
Yeah.
reconcile and things like that. So it's much cleaner if, if the bill runs through the month, we pay the bills, it will automatically cover it. If we're clearing it, then, it's totally doable, but it's just a little bit of an experience.
That's fine for everybody else's, but not the general managers. I think that needs to be the exception.
And the other thing that will free it up is that we've got the policy states that, if anybody uses the card, they fill out a form, I countersign it, they countersign it. So the amount of people that are using my card, on a regular basis, is what determines that, those staff need a card of their own so that they're not constantly going. Still the same processes, still the same everything that they have to abide by.
Okay. Is there any further comment regarding this? No, if not, would somebody like to move? With Councillor Storms, seconded Councillor Bryce, and the recommendation will read that council approve the corporate credit card facility limit to the value of $35,000. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Against? Carry. Thank you. Item 5.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm my council policy relating to planning structure area. These policies have been reviewed by all of the other, and include, we've got batch fire prevention policy, public gates and grids policy, use of council footpath policy, companion animal management policy, cross control plan, policy and enforcement policy. None of these policies suffered any legislative changes or made significant changes to define any change. So there's still submitted to council today, be adopted without any public consultation.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Are there any questions of Gary regarding these policies? If not, somebody like to move councillor Murphy, secondly councillor Heath, and the recommendation will read that the revised policies as listed below be adopted. The backflow prevention policy revision 2, the public gates and wood policy revision 1, use of council footpath policy revision 1, companion animal management policy revision 1, cross control fan policy revision 1, and enforcement policy revision 2. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you.
So, Gary, can I asked in particular about the control fan policy. There was something that we had to quickly in relation to some almonds growing close to town. I take it by the fact that we've had no changes to the policy, that all the mechanisms in there, all of the controls and everything, and for the neighbours have all worked satisfactorily and everybody's been happy.
Absolutely. To my knowledge, I received an email, by the developers prior to any likely cross events where they might be using cross fans, and included in that of the surrounding landowners.
Right.
So everyone gets a warning. I've yet to receive a complaint about it.
That's good. Works well.
Yep.
Okay, item 6, please.
So item 6 relates to the transfer of Collier Through School and Early Learning Centre. Myself and also a number of councillors attended their special meeting and AGM on the 2nd of March, at which they resolved to transfer the service to council going forward. We're proposing a transfer date of the 9th of May, which is a Saturday, so that they can read it from the middle on Monday on the 11th, as a clean time to shift the approved provider over. So we've lodged already the notice of intent to transfer the service approval with that date, and council had previously resolved to delegate authority to the general manager to take the actions necessary to ensure the continuity of the service in Collier. So we've taken those actions under that delegation, as well as working through a memorandum of understanding with the committee, which is just about finalised. We've just got to incorporate some changes that they've requested, and then I think we'll be able to proceed to signing that. So basically just seeking council's formal endorsement of those actions and authorising the general manager to finalise that memorandum of understanding and anything else that may be required to finalise the transfer, including the childcare subsidy application and all that sort of thing.
Thank you, Caitlin. Are there any questions? Councillor Major.
Just in regards to under financial implications, it is proposed that the operational funds currently held by the committee will be transferred to council. Is that part of the MOU? Yeah.
So it's not negotiable?
Well, we haven't done the MOU yet, but that's what will happen.
You know, I don't think it'll be an issue with us, but that has to be, because as it alludes to, it's to provide for existing employee entitlements and ongoing expenses.
I've had the committee on board with that, you understand, but that's what's happening.
Okay.
So just along them lines of clarification, so the recommendation is the transfer of the service. But I guess, yeah, it's about clarification. I just want it subject to that MOU being signed.
Yeah.
So I'll endorse it, but it's got to be subject to point 3. So if we just want to change, I'll clarify, or if I'm misreading it, but I'm not endorsing without number 3.
Is there any liabilities coming across from the transfer that we need to take on board?
So that is one of the points that has come back from the MOU, from the committee, was around, they just wanted clarification that the fact that we'll be taking on the leave, like the employee entitlements and things like that. Their wording in their letter was a little bit broad, but I think I'll interrogate that a little, but the intention is for us to not take on any liabilities that are not just the employee entitlement.
Right, very good. Thank you for clarifying that.
So it says here, yeah, in operational expenses, it doesn't use the word liabilities, so that should cover it.
And that'll be very clear. In that.
Yeah.
Clear, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any further questions or comments? If not, would somebody like to move, please? Move councillor Churgren, seconded councillor Curti. And the recommendation will read that Council 1 endorse the transfer of the service approval for the Polyambley Preschool and Early Learning Centre, the Murrumbidgee Council. 2, note that a notice of intent to transfer service approval has been lodged with a proposed transfer date of 9th of May 2026. And 3, authorise the General Manager to finalise and execute the Memorandum of Understanding with the Polyambley Preschool Association Incorporated, including any minor amendments required, and to undertake any actions necessary to facilitate the transfer and continued operation of the service, including, but not limited to, submitting applications for childcare subsidy, CCS, and Start Strong funding. Put the recommendation, those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 7, we move to the reports of council. And this is the Spirit Highway Task Force meeting minutes that were held and had the meeting out at Wentworth. John, can you put any comments regarding this?
Just in relation to the minutes, very comprehensive. Thank you to Julie Con for doing this. It's they're sort of minutes that you've actually got to do a Hansard recording in it, because there's so much conversation that's in there that is relevant, and we want everybody to see of how everything that we're talking about and trying to persuade governments to do and everything else like that. As council would be well aware from our previous minutes, we sent letters off to all and sundry requesting that immediately $200 million be invested into the Sturt Highway as overtaking lanes, and a further $600 million be allocated in future years. The good news is we haven't got a letter back from the minister saying no. So we'll be interested to see. But in saying that, the Sturt Highway is going to play a huge part in the renewable energy rollout. There's going to be a lot of oversized, overmass trucks coming out of Adelaide, which will use the virtually entire length of the Sturt Highway in New South Wales to Darlington Point. So they're working up submissions and things like that to try and seek federal funding to be able to do some improvements on that highway. Nothing that we can say openly at the moment, because if they say one thing, we'll add some more, and we'll add some more to put it there. If we're putting a proposal forward to get the feds to pay for some of this, we might as well ask for the Rolls Royce version, and hopefully we end up with the Bentley.
Morris Ming.
Bentley's an old car, mate. So.
We had a representative from Mildura that was there. We had the mayor was on for a period of time, and she's supportive of this organisation. And we also had that other lady, which, come on, Councillor Craig.
Which one? Road safety, Mildura.
Hey, Road Safe Mildura.
Yes.
Road Safe Mildura. Thank you, Julie. That was there, and some of the data that we collected, we've had Transport talk about in relation to the safety aspects and everything else like that. Mildura is going to provide that, and we'll add that to our advocacy as well moving forward. As we know, it's a national highway from Adelaide to the Hume Highway, and then into the Hume up to Sydney, it's like it's to be honest, a forgotten freight corridor, a very special freight corridor. So we're just trying to keep the light on it as much as we can and get as much information and help from everybody that we can in relation to for what is required on this road to make it safer. As we know, on the third highway, there are virtually 3 speed limits. There's 110 for full license, there's 100 for a lot of the trucks, and then there's 90 for some trucks and P's and L's. So when you don't have any overtaking lanes on 530 kilometre stretch of road, you can see the frustrations that when you drive it, and you can see the stupidity that the frustrations cause, and then ultimately you can see the accidents and the deaths that occur. Any further questions?
For everybody's information, the community road safe representative from Murrumbidgee was Tresna Martin.
Mhm.
And you can see by the number of people that are actually in the room and online and the list of apologies, it is a huge collective of people making a contribution to this task force. It is very, very worthwhile. Just to add to further conversations around renewable energy and the pace at which it's being rolled out and the difficulties that are being experienced and will only multiply or implode, it's very difficult to get anything concrete from the renewable energy people at the table. It's really, really so we are very reliant operational people getting to the right tables to be able to have any level of influence. And thank you to Julie. These are very comprehensive minutes. Thank you very much. There's no further comment, or would somebody like to move that the minutes of the Sturt Highway Task Force meeting be noted? Moved Councillor Vick, second Councillor Bryce. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 8 is the Darlington Point Early Learning Centre meeting minutes.
Right, we had a meeting on the 26th at 6 o'clock at the Darlington Point Club. And we had no minutes from the previous meeting due to the secretary not being in attendance due to illness. We talked about soil testing, the fact that documents have been written for the building of the preschool, the new signage site, and that it will be called the Murrumbidgee Early Learning Darlington Point. We talked about the fishing con donation, which is $20,000, which is great, which will go towards resourcing the preschool. And then we also discussed further fundraising activities. Our next meeting is in July.
Thank you. Are there any questions of Councillor Sapsik, please? If not, thank you very much for that. Would somebody like to move with the Darlington Point Early Learning Centre meeting noted? Move Councillor Paul, second Councillor Head. Those against? Carried. Thank you. We will move to item number 9, the officers' reports for noting.
So number 9 is just the investment report for February 2026. So at the end of the month, there were about under $28 million invested. Everything in line with policies and investment orders and self-benchmark. So nothing as the other report there.
Okay, are there any questions or statements, please?
You're saying interest rates going up?
Well, my thing's so efficient, I haven't taken a look at it in a while. But yeah, yeah.
Because we've had another 0.5%
Yeah.
raise, haven't we? So
Yeah.
they should at least go up 0.1%.
Yeah.
Okay,
I believe that.
any further commentary? Not, would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Strong, second Councillor Baxter, and then the recommendation will read, Council note the monthly investment reports identifying all money Council has invested under section 625 of the Local Government Act 1993. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Would somebody like to move, please, that we move into confidential?
No, but
Number 10.
item 10.
Council for motion.
Okay.
Exciting.
Is there any commentary, please, or questions of Gary? Councillor Major?
This one out of the box. Gary, our development applications, are we meeting our timeframes that we set?
I don't think so. I get a report back to council, but, yes, given our resources, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
So I don't need to put him on, Troy. Is that satisfactory, Troy? Is that all you need?
With it when he gets back to me?
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. Any further questions of Gary? If not, would somebody like to move, please?
Yep.
Move Councillor Major, seconded Councillor Saxic, and the recommendation will be that the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation February 2026 report be noted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you. Now would somebody like to move that we move into confidential, please? Councillor Storm, Councillor Saxic. Those in favour, please say aye. Those
She's
against?
got bad eyes like I have.
Carried.
Hey.
She's got bad eyes.
Okay, councillors will now move to, item number 11, the River Red Gum Estate. And the recommendation, would somebody like to move the recommendation, please? Move councillor Curtin, seconded councillor Churchland. And the recommendation will read, the council review the development control plan for the River Red Gum Estate to reflect council's direction. The price of blocks 46, 47 and 48 be set at $97,850 each. Further offering an incentive to pay for the development application, DA, construction certificate, CC, or complying development costs when using Murrumbidgee Council's planning and building section for land purchases in May 2026. With a commitment to commence building by December 2026. I'll put the recommendation. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against? Carried. Thank you.
That's it. All right.
Thank you.